what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to our new season of Women Behind the Millions. I don't know if you ever noticed, but I do a theme with my wardrobe. It just helps me to figure out and narrow down selections. And this is my season of blazers. And I'm going to start with the sparkliest blazer that I could find today. Because this season all dedicated to women in the financial industry, women helping you with your wealth. So you're going to get a huge behind the scenes look at what it takes to do our job, the things that we think about, and especially our journey to independence, our own Independence Day. How does that sound, money queens? I love this quote, this proverb. I'm taking it right out from our lead author of our newest book here at Pink Fix Productions. You can see my checker hat right there. Cameo Roberson, who's going to be on our show tonight. And she starts off her introduction to the book Beyond the Broker and our chapter. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I could not agree more. This is an African proverb. I've noticed that myself where, as I'm building out this team, and I would not be able to run Pink Fix Productions and the Wealth Boutique without an incredible team and learning the power of delegating. And not just delegating, but investing in your team and your staff and in their own careers, their own personal development, their own career development as well. We're going to talk a lot about that through this season as we have a ton of consultants and recruiters who help you do just that as well. And there are times where I could go a lot faster if I would just do it myself. But when you're doing it yourself, you are so capped. I often speak when I'm speaking on stages about growth because we've had massive growth here at the Wealth Boutique and Pink Fix Productions. I mean, it's crazy to think we did 3 books in 2024. We have 3 books alone ready to go for 2025. I couldn't do that without the team. And growth is a capacity issue. It's always going to be a capacity issue. So without investing into that team, you're only going to go so far until you hit burnout, major severe burnout. And I remember that moment for myself when I was in my own career transition, my own Independence Day, embarking on that journey. And I remember just waking up in the middle of the night after night, just this dread of what am I going to have to do tomorrow? What fires am I going to have to put out tomorrow? What issues? What are my client issues? And you care, as advisors, we care so much about our clients. They are our everything. They are our families. They are the reason we get up to do this kind of work. It's why we want independence so that we can serve them at our highest capacity. And it hit me one morning that I am so over my head. I am at burnout. I am struggling with this. And I took a moment. I placed my hand on my heart and I said, thank you, God, for this day. I'm going to change my thinking right now. I'm going to, instead of going down this spiral, I'm going to say, thank you for this day, God. Thank you for blessing this day. And I allowed myself to just listen for a moment or two. And it hit me. When I've been in this kind of mental state in the past, it's because I'm beyond capacity and I need to hire somebody. I needed to hire somebody weeks ago. You're at that point. That happens a lot for us women, right? We delay hiring. It's not our favorite thing to do. The interview process, finding the right talent, training them, finding the time to train them, all of that. But once I decided, yes, I'm going to hire somebody, I could breathe again. I felt that weight kind of shed from me. And I saw I do not have to do this all alone. So there's so much power behind this proverb of if you want to go far, you go together. You build people in, not just on your team, but then also your community and the power of networking and aligning with the right professionals to support you. And Cameo is such an amazing example of this. And she's been on our show before. She's one of our financial trendsetters in our first round. But just in case you don't know her yet, she is quite a badass. She is the founder of Atlas Park Consulting. She's a coaching and a fractional COO agency. Atlas Park helps leaders and teams execute their growth strategy, improve business processes, streamline operations, and systematize the day to day without feeling overwhelmed so they can be prepared for that next level growth, which we all want, right? We all want that next level growth. It's just hard to get there by ourselves. Usually we need somebody to help us get over that hump, to see our blind spots, to see our own glass ceilings that we keep putting on ourselves. She holds the Women Business Enterprise Council and the Women-Owned Small Business certifications as well. So she is a wealth of knowledge. So welcome to the show. Hello, Cameo Roberson.
Oh, Jessica, so good to see you.
So good to see you as well. I am thrilled for this season of Women Behind the Millions. Thrilled for our newest book that we're publishing at Pink Fix Productions, Beyond the Broker. What made you want to become the lead author of this book and take on this project?
You know, when the opportunity was presented to me and the idea was really dropped into my spirit, and I sat with it for a while and I prayed about it and I said, is this something I can do? I knew there was a need. There's a lot of people who want to go independent. We'll talk about more of what that looks like. But could I do this? And this is one of those things where I had a community around me to validate the idea. You mentioned earlier about that Proverbs, if you want to go far, go together. And it just made sense. And I knew there was a need. And so I was excited to lead the project.
Oh, well, thank you for taking it on, because it is much needed. It's something I wish I had when I was transitioning, breaking away from my father's firm to follow my passion, building out a community for women. So I hope this is kind of that holy grail, that Bible for women as they're embarking on even just those inner thoughts. Cameo, I had a call with an advisor the other day, and she's part of a team at a wirehouse large firm.
Okay.
I do daydream about going independent. I do daydream about it. And that's kind of always been my goal at Pink Fix Productions, that we're like that daydream, that we are that adult playground you didn't know you needed.
Right.
And that just feeds your soul so much for it too. What would you tell women who are watching this and they're in that daydream phase?
Yeah, what I would tell women, if you're in that daydream phase, if you're wondering if the grass is greener on the other side, if you're wondering, how can I break free from the constraints that I'm currently in? Know that there are thousands of women who, one, have paved the way before you, so it is possible. Two, you want to find some resources who could help you think through this decision, right? Because it's not just a one and done decision. There are a lot of layers to it. And so if you're daydreaming now, know that you can do it. Others have done it before you, and find a community of people through our network to really help you flesh out all those decisions you'll need to make.
Ooh, yes, talking it through with somebody. You talk about this in oh, I'm sorry. One of our authors, Carrie Ellis, she talks about this in her chapter, not needing her husband's permission, but when she received her husband's permission for her to follow and pursue her own passion, that kind of gave her that validation of, can I go for this? Can I kind of jump off the cliff, leave that security, which this is very scary for women, leaving the security of the steady paycheck, probably a T, maybe benefits, having that kind of corporate bubble around you, and launching your own. So when you say finding that professional to talk these things through with, is this practical? What are the things I need to think about? Setting everything up.
Mhm.
It's basically what we do with our clients. We're getting them for retirement, right? You're doing all these things so that come this day, you can make that change. Great
Absolutely.
advice. Yeah. Now, in your chapter, let's dive into your chapter a little bit before we go into the overall book and this season, what we're excited for, and all the different women that we have participating in this. It's such a powerhouse team of women. you right off the bat talk about this huge opportunity in the financial industry for women, especially around succession planning. Right. What is this opportunity, Cameo?
Around succession planning.
Yes, you mentioned 26% of advisors, about almost 28,000 advisors have no succession plan, have no idea what they're going to do with their neck, with if they were to retire or they become incapacitated, they can't manage their own book. Um, there, let's just do a little clean break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I have an opportunity looming. The first
You know,
generation of female advisors retiring. We talk about $2.4 trillion.
which version do you have?
Oh, maybe I have an outdated one. I have your initial one.
Mhm.
Is that not how we start? Did you change that?
I was like, wait a minute.
That's fine. We will pivot. Okay. Let's see here. Why don't we go into going independent personally? How does that affect you personally? Is that good?
Yeah.
How does it impact women differently? I think that would go on along with what we were just talking about with women in the security. Um, Toxic work environments. Talk about give your business a name to make it real. 2 paths for your to join an IRA or create your one yourself.
Mhm.
Those good?
Yeah, those
Okay.
are good.
All right. Let's go back. All right. New break. Ready? All right, Cameo. You quote in your book, you help clients navigate their own life events, but who is helping yours with your own? So let's talk about going independent and how does that affect you, not just your business, but you personally?
Yeah, so going independent, we talked about, there's a lot of layers and decisions that you have to make. There's the professional one. Does this make sense for me? How do I go about becoming independent? Should I build my own registered investment advisory firm? Should I tech into an existing platform? But then also you as a person and how this decision will affect you and your family. If you have a partner, a spouse, how will this decision affect them? How will they support you in this new next step, this new vision that you have for yourself? Those are all things that you want to think about.
Yes. And I remember having to have a very tough conversation with my husband when I was embarking on my own career transition. And as I mentioned before, breaking away from my father's firm and just to be more vulnerable, being the breadwinner and paying for a lot of our overhead. Like things are going to change, especially in that in between when you're transitioning over and getting everybody, your clients over. There might be a period of time where you don't have income coming in or what you were used to coming in. And having gone through it myself, having the conversation with my husband, who was extremely supportive, and it just showed how much he believed in me. And I think I needed that. I needed to see it in others to then believe in myself. But with every advisor that we have coming over to the Wealth Boutique, I have the same conversation with them. And say, you need to speak with your husband if you're married, and if it's just you, that's sometimes even scarier, right? It's all on me for my bills.
Exactly. It is.
To plan and save up for this, just how we help our clients plan and save up for their goals and their dreams. But I also view it as it's not a sacrifice, it's an investment into you're an asset, right? You really are forming an asset by making the change instead of building somebody else's asset. Now you're building your own asset. So it's not a sacrifice or a loss of it. I view it as a huge investment.
Absolutely. It's the investment in the asset, the business itself, as you mentioned, Jessica. And then it's also an investment in yourself as an individual, especially if you've been dreaming about this and you've been wanting to do this. This is your chance to break free from those corporate molds that may have been holding you back and really expand yourself and continue to serve clients at a very high level. And you want to make sure the important people in your life can support you in this and help you with all the decisions that'll need to be made.
Yes. Do you think, Cameo, women view the decision or make the decision differently than men do?
I do. Yeah, women, I'm one, love us. But when it comes down to it, we wanna have everything figured out. We wanna have that roadmap. We want all the boxes checked, all the T's crossed, and all the I's dotted. Whereas men may feel like, you know what? I'm just gonna get out there and do it. I don't have it all figured out,
Mm.
but the confidence that they have to get out there and pursue independence without that roadmap, we do see that a lot.
Yes. Women, we definitely like to get educated before we make any big decisions. And I've been taught I need to sit with my emotions because I'm an emotional wave for highs and lows. Like when I'm high, do I still feel good about this? When I'm low, do I feel good about this decision for it as well? And men, they tend to be riskier, bigger risk takers.
Yep.
And you're right, the confidence. I wish our ladies had just 10% of the confidence that these male advisors have. Because they're really, really good advisors, but we doubt ourselves, pressure on ourselves. And you're right. I've been on client meetings and the advisors feel bad when they don't know all the answers. I'm like, you know, it's perfectly fine to say, I'm going to do some extra research and follow up on this question that you have. And I think clients even appreciate that more because you're not just giving them an off the cuff answer. You're going to do your due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely. And you build trust when you can say, you know what, I don't have the answer now, but I'll get back to you with it. In addition to the confidence that you just mentioned, I think women can find and build even more confidence in community. So when you have other like-minded women around you, supporting you, pouring into you, speaking life into what you want to do, it helps build that confidence muscle.
Yes. Amen. Sharing best practices, sharing success, sharing vulnerable stories when you don't feel good. So I think that helps with your confidence because
It does.
it's not just me. Women everywhere are dealing with this.
Mhm.
What I love about the women that you've brought together for this book, everyone has gone through this sort of transition in their own rights. All of the recruiters have left the corporate world to launch their own. We have women that are consulting, the same thing. They left the team to launch their own. Everyone has gone through this huge career change pivot. As Trisha Brady, one of our authors, says, she wishes that this is not just a career change, but a life transformation. What do you think about that, Cameo? And let's go into your own. You've worked within the corporate world, you've worked within the box. How has it changed for you leaving that and launching Atlas? How's that personally?
You know, when you said career change and the transformation, that's exactly what I experienced when I left corporate back in 2018 to launch Atlas Park Consulting. A long career working in wealth management for different firms and got my skills and the experience that I needed to launch my consulting firm, but I was in a box and I wasn't getting opportunities to get to the next level. And I was hitting roadblocks left and right. So when I think about my journey from employee to entrepreneur, that transformation happened when I left corporate. It didn't start before. The seed was planted. But when I took the leap and launched my consulting practice, then I started to go through the transformation of really becoming the woman that you see today in terms of a business owner and being able to impact the lives of other women business owners and encouraging her and saying, you know what, you can do this too.
Amen, Cameo. Yes. I recently watched Moana 2 with my kids. And I'm watching the movie, and afterwards it hit me. Working at my father's firm, and you probably felt the same way, working in those different business models, that was your reef. That was that safe area, right, of the reef. And venturing beyond that was unknown territory. And everybody told you, it's too scary, don't leave.
Yep, completely.
Don't do it. And one day you are Moana, you're like, for my own sake, for my soul, for my passion, for my own integrity, I need to go beyond the reef. And think of all the opportunities that have come from embarking and stepping into that unknown territory, and how many women you have inspired to also journey beyond the reef into where they've never gone before, and how much that has leveled up their game.
Absolutely. I love that, going beyond the reef and having the confidence to take that first step. I think that's where it starts. And once you take that first step, then the next step, then the next step, your whole world will start to open up in new ways that you could have never imagined. And I experienced that. I didn't have everything figured out on day one, but with each step I took, there was more of the picture that was exposed to me, or new people coming into my network to pour into me to help me build my vision even bigger than I had initially.
Oh, I love when that happens. Some people can just see it. They're those visionaries,
Mhm.
especially when again, you're in unknown territory. You don't know where it can even go to.
Right.
In the early days too, you're just like step by step. Let me just get through this day. Let me just get some income coming in, build up my network for it to. And that's what my goal is with this book and this community that we're forming. Is it's like you picture beyond the reef there, there's like a party going on a boat, and there are these women cheering you on, and they're throwing you ropes, they're throwing you buoys and lifelines of like, we've done it, here are the paths that you take. Because how many times, Cammy, do you talk with women, and I speak with advisors all the time, they take one step forward, they get scared,
And then
somebody chirps in their ear,
yep,
and then they take a step back.
yep.
That's what my goal is, that we can just keep with each episode, with each chapter, building that confidence for these women and knowing they're not alone, that all of these authors, these incredible women, have done it in the past and are gonna help them get through it as well.
Absolutely. And I think the beauty in this book is all women authors coming together collectively, sharing our expertise and giving women and anyone really who wants to pursue independence that roadmap, that guide, that support, the insights kind of behind the curtain of what you need to think about in making this leap to independence. And I think even for some people, they're going to find out the opportunities beyond the broker, right? Maybe they didn't even realize that this was something that was available to them. So we hope to not only inspire, but change lives and encourage people to take the leap.
Yes, and and I just got this idea. All of the advisors that I've spoken with who haven't made that leap yet, they're all getting copies of this book. Bro, we could just get that out there, this message out there. Should we take a little glimpse of Beyond the Broker? Would you like to see our new commercial for it, Cammy?
Let's do it. If you're like many independent financial advisors that I've had a chance to talk to, going independent sounds more nuanced and problematic. Have you ever wondered what it really takes to break free from the traditional broker model and go independent as a financial advisor? My name is Cameo Roberson, and I'm the founder of Atlas Park Consulting. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Beyond the Broker, Navigating Financial Advisory Independence. In this book, we've assembled top experts, myself included, to guide you from dreaming about independence to actually making it happen. We break down different RIA models, share compliance tips, and walk you through building or joining a successful independent practice. If you're ready to define success on your own terms, Beyond the Broker is your roadmap. Grab your copy now and start taking control of your future as an independent financial advisor. Get your copy today. I love that. Oh my goodness.
It's like it's been birthed, the baby that we've been working on. It is being born. It's coming out. Was it January 30th is our day, I believe?
Yes, January 30th is our day, and I'm so excited. And whoever is watching this right now in this moment, let my story, let this book be an example of what's possible when you go beyond the reef.
Yes. Amen. And without going beyond the reef, we wouldn't even have Pink Fix Productions. There's no way. Okay, the way we would be able to have a whole multimedia company that's able to put out these assets, these resources, bringing women together. We wouldn't have connected Cameo. I would have had with the trendsetters, all of that. It's incredible. It's part of why I love the writing process too. I love to get your take on this Cameo.
Oh,
It's very reflective. It can be therapeutic as well. But you take a moment to think of all that you have been able to do since your Independence Day. What is the writing process like for you, Cameo?
that's a great question. Let's go. The writing process for me is usually I like to sit in a quiet room and just kind of reflect on where I am today and really thinking about how far I've come. Sometimes in the hustle and bustle of life, day is busy. We forget about those stories, those instances, those people that we've met that were pivotal in our lives. But until we get quiet, until we get still, until we sit with our thoughts and sit with the reality of where we're at, sometimes it's hard to remember those instances. And so I usually start there. And then I think about the people that I've met. And when I think about some of the people that I've met, then I remember stories and things that I've experienced. And that usually helps to get the writing process started. Stories are so memorable. And so that's one of the things I always want to try to include so that people can make that connection with me.
Yes. That connect storytelling. I love storytelling.
Yeah.
You put ourselves in those shoes, feel into the emotions of it. We can start to picture it, which helps then our brain start to identify opportunities out there that are like that story. And so it helps our RAS, our reticular activation system. Mel Robbins talks about it a lot. But think of like, I really want a pink Jeep Wrangler. That's going to be my next car. Right? But then I start to see, not that there's a lot of pink cars out there, but I start to identify different things. Or when people meet me, then they start to see pink everywhere in their worlds, right? There is a filter system in our brain. So storytelling really helps to speed up the daydreaming into real life.
Absolutely. And along those lines of storytelling, there's in my chapter, there's two women that I've worked with over a number of years and really helping them in their independence journey. And the stories they share about corporate life, what they were going through, the feelings that they were having, how did they go through making this decision? It's a great insight into how other people think and how other people process this decision. And so readers will be able to hear these stories and read them and really hopefully resonate with them at the same time because we're more alike than we are different.
Yes. Yes. And let's go into you're embarking your independence
Hmm.
as a female advisor, there's two different pathways that they can go.
Yes.
And form their own firm, or they can kind of wrap themselves under like the advisors of the wealth boutique. Right? They have their own identity, they have their own brand, but they're still part of a platform community.
Yeah.
Can you go into those two different areas?
Yeah. So if you want to build your own RIA from scratch, and go the full entrepreneur route, you can do that. And the beauty of that is you call all the shots. You're in charge of everything. You build your own marketing plan and client service model and engagement plan, but you also take on the risk as well. So that's something that you have to think about. But our book talks about how you can navigate that successfully. Now, on the other side, and in particular, Jessica, with your platform, advisors can tuck in under a corporate brand. And you mentioned, them having their own individual companies and control over that. But then you get the support from the network with compliance, with technology, with legal, with other things that you don't have to worry about. So know that there are options out there depending on your level and comfortability of going independent. These are two ways that you can do that. Build your own RIA from scratch or tuck in under an existing RIA and platform.
Yes. And you could always grow into launching your own. We could tuck into one and then grow into maybe you need more assets because it is expensive. One thing I learned, there are a lot of upfront costs and recurring expenses. And then launching your own but I would really learn who you are. Are you that business owner really wanting, as you said, you're comfortable, you're not gonna get stressed out, taking on so much risk and liability? Are you good at hiring? Or do you wanna focus on just building your clients, servicing your clients, showing up for them? Um, the two, as I when people ask me my opinion, two very different pathways. Not one is right for everybody. You have to learn where your skill sets at.
You do, and really have a vision for yourself. What kind of life do you wanna live? What are some of your personal goals? I always tell advisors that I speak with, "What do you want for yourself? What does success look like?" I can't make that decision for you. Once you figure that out, then it makes the next steps, much easier. You may not want to build your own RA from scratch because of the level of work or cost involved with it. It all depends on your unique situation. But it all starts with your vision, your personal vision, and what does success look like for you and your family.
Ooh, and I like how you're saying, what does that ideal day look like for you? Like taking a step back, doing some reflective work. What does that ideal day look like? And where do you see your career going? And I think that's why it's great just speaking with different people and their experiences. What does it take? I remember getting the breakdown of the cost for launching an eye. I'm like, there's no way it's going to cost that much money. Like, we already had a lot of this stuff in place. Wow, they were on point. So trust the different experts that you bring in. Trust them. You have a few key points. You talk about perspective, education, exposure, and experience. Do
Yes.
you have a system, Cameo, when I'm a new advisor or I'm about to break away, go independent, and I come to you? Take me through what your process looks like.
Yes, and so if the advisor I'm speaking with has decided what their vision is and they're very clear on what success looks like for them, an advisor who wants to go independent can actually participate in our Launch RIA program. We walk them through the steps of getting registered, connecting them with resources who can help with marketing, talking about which custodian they're going to custody at, what are some of the legal requirements they need to think about, and then bring in experts similar to the book to help facilitate those conversations. Once we have a baseline of where they're at and where they want to go, then the conversation just digs a little bit deeper into how do we actually make these things happen. So, for example, I don't do any compliance, but I have compliance consultants in my network that I can refer those advisors to start the registration process. But before we do that, we want to make sure that they're clear on their service model and their pricing and what type of client service that they're planning to present, because all those decisions are going to go into your legal documents. So you need to have a sense of what those things are in advance. So at the end of the day, our program really cuts down the time it takes to launch. We're very targeted in the questions we're asking you. We're giving you all the information you need so that when you go out and work with these other experts to help move the needle forward, you're maximizing your time and your energy and avoiding expensive rework down the line.
Yes. And what I hear too, even if you're leaving like a corporate environment, right, you have that infrastructure in place, you're leaving that. And I keep saying, but you have a community.
Yes.
So it's it's not that it's going to be more work, but you get to have, I call it open architect, right? You get to align with the right professionals, not just who you have to work with, but who you get to work with. That have similar morals, values, ethics, ways that they work with you. And that to me is so beautiful that you get to choose who you bring into your inner circle.
You do. Hmm.
Two more things before we take our break that I want to talk with you about, Cameo. And it kind of ties into what we are just speaking about, our toxic work environments. A lot of women getting stuck, and I know you've experienced this yourself, getting stuck in places. But it's tricky because you're like, is it just me? Am I reading into this too much? Is it really toxic? And then how do I get out?
Yeah, it is very tricky because, like you said, you're wondering, is it me? Are other people experiencing this? Why am I going through this? Um, I think at the end of the day, most of us know when a situation just isn't going well, right? And you want to trust your gut. And that I know in my situation, I had to trust my gut and then also see what was going on around me, what opportunities were not coming my way, or what roadblocks were being thrown up in my situation. So if you're in a toxic work environment now, you just want to think about a couple of things. One, what's really going on? What's the root cause? Two, you want to figure out how you can seek help and support, whether that's, contacting your HR department. But at the end of the day, don't sit in that for too long because that can affect your mental state, your mood, as well as your ability to really experience the career success that you want. Life is short. No one should have to stay in and live in a toxic situation. It's just not worth it, right? And so if you're experiencing that now, find a trusted resources that you can talk to and really figure out what's going on and then plot your next steps. My situation, when I experienced that, I had to figure out what my next steps were going to be. I said, I'm not staying here. I'm just not. But I had to have a plan. And I took the time to build that plan and talk with my community so that I could feel supported in moving and launching to the next step.
Yes, having a plan in place before you're about to just leave. But I love your point. Don't sit in it for too long. Do not accept it. Do not settle for it. You are worth so much more than that. And I think some people realize this is just how work is. It's not. It does not need to be. It does not need to be. I see it. We do a lot of work with women going through a divorce. Similar. And when you're sitting it for too long, you then start to accept it and you kind of raise this level of what you're willing to accept.
Right.
Let's say, right, it's an abusive relationship and he hit you. But the next time he doesn't hit you, but he does something else, you're like, oh, well, at least he didn't hit me.
Right. And you start to make excuses.
Exactly, yes.
Mhm.
Jordan Krissa, who's one of our authors as well for Beyond the Broker, she's a recruiter and she talks a lot about how women and they're recruiting women, they're getting them over them to a new firm, more profitable firm, a better environment, less toxicity. But then their old bosses come back to them and they give them a bunch of empty promises.
Mm.
And the women go back because this is the devil I know. What I'm used to, they say it's going to change. Does it change, Cameo?
No, it doesn't change. Mm-mm.
So, yeah, the more we can build out that community of support around them, hopefully that will help get them over the hump and into there. It does not have to be like that. And part of why I love the independence is you get to leave that at the door and create whatever work environment you want to create.
Mhm. Absolutely, and even in who you wanna serve. I know I've worked with some advisors who've worked for firms, and it wasn't the exact client base that they wanted to serve. They wanted to serve, individuals who are from underrepresented communities, first generation, Americans here, and just figure out how they could serve them at a higher level. And that was one of the motivators for them wanting to go independent is the client base that they wanted to serve.
Yes. And I love we have Darcy Smith, we have Lori Miller, some other of the recruiters who really talk about that culture
Yeah.
that you get to think about and create. And it can be changing and evolving as your business is changing and evolving, or as you dive into your own personal development. I mean, at the Wealth Boutique, we do meditations, we do sound baths, we do breath work. Alyssa Goldman, our creative director, she's a certified heart healer. So we really intertwine a lot of on your own personal because we see the more that we heal from past traumas, generational traumas and patterns, the better leaders we are, the better we show up for our clients, for our families. It helps, it just raises everybody up for it too. So there's so much you can do. Actually, she's really neat.
So go independent or at least have a conversation and figure out what is the best choice for you. In this book, Beyond the Broker and the co-authors have really put together a stellar resource to help you figure it out.
Yes, exactly. Now, the last piece before we take our break, I want to talk about something that always has stuck out to me from our first conversation And we met from a business coach consultant that I was working with at the time, introduced us. So it was a networking call.
Yeah.
And then it blossomed into you becoming a trendsetter. And now you're spearheading this book, and a beautiful friendship as well. And it was all about networking. Was that really big thing that stuck out to me on our first call was you asked me, how's your networking game? How much are you proactively reaching out to people, getting on the phone, setting aside time because it's very easy to be too busy and
Very easy.
a day, but you keep your bubble small. How, Kimio, how has it helped you networking? And then what would you recommend to women who are like, it's hard. I work remote. I work from home. It's hard to meet new people. What would you say to them?
Networking is so important to my life now. I have to reflect back to 2011 when I got laid off for the second time. And I had 5 people in my network. And I was frustrated and upset at myself that I didn't have anyone that I could really reach out to. In that moment, I decided to change my mindset around networking and building relationships. And ever since then, my life has been impacted in so many positive ways because of the people that I've met, the relationships that I've built. My goal is always to seek out like minded individuals who have an abundance mindset, a collaborative spirit, and are just good people, and figure out how we can support and help each other. And so that's one of the things that I would recommend to anyone who wants to improve their networking is find like-minded people who share the same values as you, who have a similar outlook to you, and start there. It's always great to collaborate with like-minded individuals because you understand each other, at least initially, and then you have a chance to get to know each other on a greater level. What networking has done for my business, it's amazing, and I thank God for the opportunity to connect with so many amazing people. Jessica, this opportunity, it's been a game changer. What else can I say? And it just continues to grow because may start out small, those people know other people, you get introductions here and there, and before you know it, you've got a massive network of people that you can reach out to and also give to as well.
It's one of the biggest assets of your business that you can have. I mean, the power of somebody speaking your name when you're not in the room. You cannot put a price on that.
Completely. I have to share a quick story about that. So I work with wealth management teams and financial advisors primarily here in the US. Well, recently, a client who was a part of another mastermind group of other advisors dropped my name as someone that this advisor should work with. I do operations consulting and strategy. This advisor is in Canada. I'm now working with advisors in Canada.
Oh, how cool. And plus you're learning a ton. I would that's a whole nother call. Be very curious of what that looks like over.
It speaks to what you just said of you never know when your name is going to be dropped in rooms that you're not even in.
Yes, and don't get frustrated because some people like, "I'm gonna network," and they don't see anything right away. But there is that buildup. There is you don't know what's going on when you're not in the room behind closed doors and who's been watching you. Because sometimes they might stalk you for a little bit, and they might not even like or comment or engage with you on social media, but they're watching every single video, everything single post that you do, and then all of a sudden, the floodgates open up, and these people come pouring in.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. It does take time, so you want to be consistent. Want to be
It's like the
consistent, have the right expectations, and really come and figure out how you can provide value to other people. Don't always try to get what other people can give to you, but what can you give to other people? How can you be a resource? And you'll find that people will gravitate to you because of your giving spirit, because you are trying to be a help to them.
Yes, God loves a cheerful giver. Loves a cheerful giver. And it's true. I just had a conversation with one of our advisors, and she's starting to network more, which is
Mhm.
great. She's like, but I'm having trouble then like navigating from that introduction to them becoming a client. I was like, no, no, no. Your sole purpose is there to see how you can support them
Yeah.
and that energy. And it's can I show up? Who are your ideal clients? Can we do an event together? Right. How can we support you? How can I get buzz around you? Because then it's just going to come back to you. All that's going to come back to you as well. So don't have that weird, salesy, icky conversation of, oh, I see you're struggling with getting income. I can help you with that as an advisor. No. Like, who can I send you? Who can I connect you with?
Mhm. One question I often ask at the end of all of my networking calls is, "How can I support you?"
Simple
Simple,
and easy. I love that.
really easy.
How,
And when you ask that question and you get a response, follow up. If they've asked for support, do it.
mhm. That gets people talking about you because a liar don't do that.
Right.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to have a commercial about our big mass financial trendsetters mastermind gala coming in May back in New Jersey. Cannot wait. And then we have a few more questions for Cameo.
Okay.
Get ready, ladies, for an unforgettable night of empowerment, celebration, and community. Join us for the 4th annual Pink Fix Gala on May 14th and 15th here in New Jersey. Experience the magic of bringing together visionary women, leaders, and change makers in an evening dedicated to growth, connection, and leaving an impact. From powerful keynote speakers to exquisite dining and dancing, the Pink Fix Gala is your chance to celebrate your journey and be inspired by others. Don't miss your opportunity to be a part of this life-changing event. Tickets are now on sale, and all ticket sales go towards our Financial Trendsetters Scholarship Award. Visit pinkfixproductions.com to get your tickets today. We can't wait to see you there. All right, Cameo, we are back and want to ask you a few questions about Beyond the Broker. So we always ask, what are some trends that you're seeing with female advisors in the industry right now?
Yeah. So a couple of trends that I'm seeing with female advisors, and this one probably isn't a surprise. There's a lot of women advisors that are not being supported in their current roles, right? And the way I know that is my conversations with other professionals in the industry, the things I see in social media. I'm connected to a lot of different people. So women aren't getting the support that they want to have in some of these corporate environments. And what I'm also seeing is women who have gone independent speaking up and boldly sharing their journey and their story with others. I also see, and this may not be so much of a surprise either, but women tend to be better financial planners in working with clients. That's not going to change. I think that's just the reality of that is just going to continue to intensify. And you see that women work well with other women and men, of course, but women are great listeners and tend to do very well in this profession. And I think as time goes on, the goal is to have more women coming into the profession because they can be successful and do very well.
Yes, very true.
Yes.
Very empathetic, personal. They listen, follow through. They give you the space to be without coming into a meeting with an agenda of what is it that my client needs from me today. I might have something that I want to get through with them, but if they're not at that place, I'm not going to force it. We can schedule another time to go through it. I'm just going to show up in whatever capacity she needs from me today.
Absolutely. And then I also know women tend to outlive men. And more women want to work with more women advisors. And I think that's just going to continue as well.
Yes. Yes. Huge shifting of hands with who's managing the money, just a group of women living longer.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the baby boomers being the generation that has had the most wealth compared to other generations, there's going to be a huge passing of years.
Huge transfer of wealth. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, beautiful, Cameo. Any other trends that you're seeing?
Any other trends? I think the level of support for advisors, myself, the co-authors in the book, I think that's going to continue to expand. You may have more collaborations amongst consultants helping advisors, because one of the things that I've often heard is, who can help me? And my goal is that more of us will be able to collaborate with one another and support these advisors.
Yes, that is very true. And I think that's going to help keep more women in the industry, draw them in, but also keep us and for us to become very successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Building the confidence. I always feel like it's at that like 5-year mark where women, they really come into their own as an advisor, and it's the confidence, right? They've done it. They've seen things. They probably have gone through some sort of bear market at some point, some sort of pullback, because it's very different being an advisor during pullbacks than during bull markets for it too. But that would be huge, huge transformation
Mhm.
for the industry.
It is there. That community is there.
Beautiful. All right. How about your tip? What would be your Beyond the Broker tip for women watching?
Yeah. So my beyond the broker tip for women watching and men maybe watching as well is really think about your vision, right? Once you have that vision in place, it's a lot easier to reverse engineer the steps you need to get to it. Be confident in what you want for yourself. Don't let someone else dictate what that is. You figure that out. And then this book, other resources, the experts and their perspective can help you reverse engineer that vision of success that you want for yourself.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Start with the end in mind, reverse it. And there are people that can help you along the way for it too. Beautiful, Cameo. Well, we have one more question for you, which you've had before.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
Ooh, I love that. What makes me a woman behind is the confidence and the belief in myself to show up, to be bold, to be unapologetic, and to impact the lives of those around me and those who may be watching my journey. That's what makes me a woman behind the millions.
Being your authentic self just inspires more women to show up unapologetically, as you said before, and to be bold. I think the biggest thing, I want women to have permission to want what they want.
Okay.
Go for what they want, to daydream about what they want, to put it into action, and to not apologize for wanting it.
Nope. And to go after it. And to believe that failure is not an option.
Failure is not an option. There you go. There's no failure. You're just going to keep leveling up, ladies. Even when it feels like you are not, you really are. Even when it feels like a huge step back, it's a closing of a door that wasn't meant to be, and a huge one is opening for you.
Absolutely. And every setback is a lesson to then up level you to get to that next level.
I love it. It's exactly what you said with the networking. Like, I only have 5 people in my network. I'm going to look at this differently. I'm going to make networking my number one priority, my MO. And it's led you here.
It had. And this is just the beginning. And I'm excited at what's to come next.
Amen. Oh, I love it, Cameo. Thank you so much for being on Women Behind the Millions tonight for spearheading Beyond the Broker, coming out January 30th. We cannot wait to get this book out to everyone and to see you at our gala, at our mastermind. It keeps going. Beautiful.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much, Jessica. This has been wonderful. I'm so excited for our partnership, this book, how it's going to impact the lives of women and helping to navigate that journey to independence.
Same, Cameo. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our viewers, all of our money queens here watching. We'll see you next week with another episode of Women Behind the Millions. Hey, money queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at PinkFixMyMoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.